Hello again, and welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the Rural Report. I am your Rural 2IC, and just a quick reminder that by the time that this gets uploaded and you are viewing this, to make sure it is Workshop Wednesday night, so 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Adjust for your time zone. Come hang out. It's just a bunch of preppers and survivalists, bushcrafters, homesteaders, and other like-minded good people that we just hang out and chit chats, live Q&A, where pretty much anything goes as long as you are not a jerk. And we're going to play some fun games. We're going to give away some prizes, not only tonight, but the next week as well. So if you can't make it tonight, don't fret. You can always join us for next week. And we'll be playing some games, giving away some Christmas prizes as well. So with that being said, I tried to keep this one short because I have a lot of things to do in between the time of recording this and my live stream. But there was a lot of news, so I'm going to try and hurry through this, but still, make it to where you'll get something out of it, hopefully. So, it looks like first thing up is that the Houthis are at it again. There was a report of two different security incidents being reported. One in the Strait of, I can't pronounce it, over there by them. And the other one was a couple of miles off the coast of Oman. So they're still doing their harassment of taking out some ships and some other things, which S2 Underground put out a video, and they were talking about it with his analyst comments, that when you're talking maritime, it's going to be extremely difficult, because just because the ship is bought by this person, made by this company that's out of this country, it might be manned by people from 20 other different countries. It might be under the flag or banner of another country, taking stuff from, it goes on and on and on. So it's going to be interesting as time rolls on, as long as it's being allowed. So next is, it looks like North Korea has made an announcement that it might be conducting, and they're making kind of a threat here, a nuclear test. And the timing of this is in the very beginning of November of 24. Now let's stop and think. What happens in the very beginning of November of 24? It's right, the presidential election of the United States. Interesting timing. But speaking of elections, it looks like China has issued a new statement to the United States, as they demand the United States stop interfering in the upcoming elections of Taiwan, which happens in January. So we're only weeks away, and China's going, hey, knock it off, stay out of the elections. Does the U.S. meddle in elections? We'll leave that there. All right, so let's go to the head of the KGB has announced that their intelligence found 7 groups in Poland that were preparing, or are preparing, to carry out terrorist attacks in the country of Belarus. So that's interesting in itself right there. They're not going to release their intelligence. They're just going to basically say from their intelligence. So we have no proof that this is happening. Could it be true? Absolutely, it could be. Could this just be a ploy to make an excuse to do something dumb? Very well, too. Okay. So, like most things, we get the headline, we stop and think about it, analyze it the best we can. But most of this is a waiting game to see what actually happens, because you and me, for the most part of everybody that's watching, we have no power to do anything about it, even if it is true. So, data point. Next, it looks like Sky News is reporting that the UA could be brought to a screeching halt at any moment by a major cyber attack. Well, that's interesting. Cyber attacks really seem to be the top buzz all over the place, with the Netflix movie that came out, the cyber attack that happened in Pennsylvania, just a couple of weeks ago. The announcement earlier this week that China was hacking Guam and Hawaii. The cybersecurity group or whatever from the U.S. issued their statement about critical infrastructure, and the U.S. should be on the lookout for maybe a major cyber attack. And now it looks like the UK might be under a major cyber attack. So that's interesting. And let's continue on that subject. So it looks like the Russian hacker group has claimed responsibility for a cyber attack on the largest mobile provider in Ukraine. The hackers have reported that they have destroyed 10,000 computers, over 4,000 servers, and took out all cloud storage and backup systems. That's a lot if that's true. Now, there's a ton of people that have come out and reported on this. We did the report yesterday that there was a cyber attack while Zelensky was here in the U.S. meeting in the White House there. But there wasn't a whole lot of news about it. Now that it's been about 24 hours, so more things are starting to come out about it. So it's interesting. Somebody's claimed responsibility of it. It's interesting on the initial first reports of the damage caused by it. And it really makes you stop and think. A lot of people say, well, don't keep it on your device, upload it to the cloud. If something happens to your device, if it's in the cloud, you can just use another device and get it. Well, if this is true, which I'm not a techie guy, so I don't know, they just deleted all the stuff in the cloud. They took out servers. That's a lot of damage by one hacker group. Okay. So again, is it true? I don't know. It's what's being reported, but it makes you stop and think. If this happens, what do you have on your device that if something happened to it, you need and can't get off your device? What is in the cloud that you can't, that you need if something was to happen to it? So use this while you can. You can access your device because you're probably watching me on it right now. You can access your cloud. You can get into all your files and apps. But what is on there that's really, really important that you're really going to need? Is there a way to make a hard copy? Can you print it off? Can you, save it to something externally, like an external hard drive or a memory stick or something like that, and store it away? Maybe something to think about. And then let's stick with cyber attacks. So the official website of the Israeli army was hacked, and the hacker group is reported to be out of Jordan. Okay, now that's interesting because Jordan comes into the news because the Iraqi resistance has claimed responsibility for attack on a U.S. military base inside of Jordan via the use of a drone. Now, most of the stuff that has come out was about attacks on U.S. military bases in Iraq or Saudi Arabia. So now that they're attacking U.S. military bases in Jordan, now makes me perk up a little bit more, and it adds another little data point to the quiver. So keep that in your mind on that. Looks like NATO has released its new defense budget for 2024. And just doing the quick math on it, it looks like their defense budget has been raised by 12% than what it is here currently in 2023. Wonder where they're going to get that money increase. Let you think about that for a second. So it looks like, if you remember, the hack that was done in Las Vegas that we reported on yesterday, where they said that there was going to be a direct line to Putin on the 24th of December. Well, if this alleged new article is true, it may shed some light on it, because now there has been a statement released that Putin will be making a major end-of-year press conference and is expected to make a major announcement on December 24th. So, what will he say? I have no idea. Is the press conference even going to happen? Probably, I don't know. This may just be another hype thing. It may just be nothing at all. It may be something big. All it is it's a data point. So, keep your eye up a little bit and we'll cover it when it happens, if it happens, and we'll see what comes about it. Moving on, the U.S. Navy has asked its friend Australia to send a warship to the Red Sea, and this is in an effort to expand international task force in the area. And in addition, Germany is thinking about sending its own warships to the Red Sea. And so the U.S. has already said that they were going to send a naval task force out there to kind of monitor things and try and quote unquote keep the peace. And looks like U.S. is starting to ask some of its friends to send some help and send some additional warships to the area. Makes me a little nervous when you do that because when you start mixing a whole bunch of people out there and something pops off, yeah, we'll move on from that one. Try and keep this video short. All right, so it looks like let's go here into the Homeland. So the FBI and Homeland Security both have issued a warning that there is now increased risk levels to public safety throughout the holiday season and all throughout winter itself. Now that's interesting. We've been saying this, that you need to keep your head on a swivel if you're going to be traveling or you're going to be doing some of these public events during Christmas. It's a very popular event, where you get a large group of people and it makes it an appealing target. Okay. And it shouldn't happen. It absolutely, you should be able to take and go hang out with your friends or take your family and your kids, go down and watch a Christmas parade. And you should have your guard completely down to where it's just a good time and, nothing should happen. But sadly, it's not the state of things right now. It's not a thing to panic. It's not a thing to say, don't go. If you're going to go, go. Just make sure that you're situationally aware. You keep an eye out and you keep yourself and your family and your friends as safe as you possibly can. Moving on. So there was a massive 5-alarm fire that broke out, destroying multiple businesses. And here comes one that we reported on yesterday in the Bronx, that is in New York. So the Bronx has been popping up into a lot of headlines lately, which is interesting, data point. And then and I'm going to try and pronounce this, bear with me, in Sewickley Heights, Pennsylvania, if you're from Pennsylvania, which I know some of you are. I'm so sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Looks like multiple emergency personnel has responded to a large house explosion yesterday. When I saw the video of it, there was nothing left of that house. They were basically crews looking through some rubble, and I don't know what happened on that one, but there was no more house. And it's interesting. There seems to be a lot of questionable fires and a lot of house explosions, and a lot of that lately. So, data point, keep it in mind. Let's go on to social media. Seemed to be a buzz last night with viral videos being posted showing that there was military helicopters flying low throughout downtown Dallas, Texas, as the DoD conducts training operations, nighttime training operations this week. I saw some of the videos of it. Looked like a standard military training exercise to me. Didn't look anything. And to be fair, you have to do nighttime training ops, okay? And it's a little odd to me. It's not out of the normal by any means, but it's a little odd to me that you're going to do it over top of a major populated area. It's not unheard of. They actually do it. There's plenty of video out there of C-130s flying in between buildings and things like that throughout history and throughout the United States and other places. So it's one of the things, should they be trained for it? They should. It's just an interesting data point because you're training for that for a reason. You don't train for something that's not probable. So we'll keep it there for now. Let's move into the last one in the sake of trying to keep the video short. So this one I found extremely interesting. And I'm going to try and keep it as non-political as possible, but Cassidy Hutchinson was doing an interview on MSNBC, and I'm going to read a one-line quote. And I know that's unfair. I don't like really doing that, but by all means, if you want, go look up and watch the whole thing, or watch a longer clip so you get a better context, okay? But this is the one line I found interesting. She says, quote, "I truly believe that if he," referring to Donald Trump, "is reelected, then the likelihood that this is the last election we are voting under our Constitution." Now, there's a lot of ways to take that, and the rhetoric on this seems to be a little concerning for me. So it seems like they're pushing more of a, if you vote this guy in, everything's going to get flipped upside down. It's going to turn into this wild, crazy dictatorship, and life's going to be horrible, and they're going to rip up the Constitution and all this other stuff. And okay, let's take a step back for half a second here. Is it possible, not probable, is it possible? Yeah, it's possible. It is. Stick with me for a second. Is it probable? No. Okay. Now I say it's possible because could he physically win the election, walk in there, grab the Constitution, tear it in half, and say, hey, we're a dictatorship now? Yes. Okay. He could. Anybody could. Not just him, but anyone. I could do it. You could do it. Is it probable that he would do that? No, I don't see it at all. Okay. So that's where this comes in, and this is where I'm kind of half tying this together with prepping. And if you stuck with me this long, congratulations, because this is where everything, I'm going to try and put it together. When we prepare, that's why I try and really drill down. We prepare for probable over possible, because as I just illustrated there, is it possible somebody could get elected, grab the Constitution, rip it in half, and say we're a dictatorship? It's possible. It really is. Is it probable? No, it's probably not a thing that's going to happen. So in preparing, when you pick a reason to prepare for, okay, is it the zombie apocalypse? I suppose it's possible, but is it probable? And kind of look at it in that direction. So I want you to pick out, what is your 1, 2, 3, 5, 10, 25. Okay. It doesn't matter how many reasons you got, but take each one of them down. Grab you a piece of paper and a pen and go, all right, what am I preparing for? And write them down. All right, well, it might be a tornado, it might be a flood, it might be a job loss, it might be a death in the family, it might be whatever. And then start going through. How possible is this? This really could happen. All right, so that's a threat analysis 2. Oh, how possible is this? Well, I mean, maybe. All right, well, maybe that's a 7 or an 8. Okay, well, what about the Sasquatch riding in on Puff the Magic Dragon, wearing a half invisibility cloak? Probably way down on the list, okay? So make sure you're honest with yourself. Just because, you're new and you grabbed a bunch of gear and all that, and LARPing is fun. I get it. There's a sense to it. It's not for everybody, but there's nothing wrong with throwing on a day pack, gearing up, and having a round of paintball or something. And I get it, okay? But when you're talking about real world scenario, you got to dial it back and go, what's probable versus possible? Because we need to focus more on the probability of it. So, all right, I'm going to be done. This went a heck of a lot longer than I was planning on it to go. So, hopefully the longer video made it to where at least one of you got something out of it of useful. You're not going to get a video to where, you know, every single video speaks to you 100% of the time, but just make sure that you understand if you come across a video, and I think Pinball said this maybe a couple days ago, it makes nothing to me of hurting my feelings or anything. If I'm going to speak on, I don't know, water collection, and you've got that covered, you don't have to watch the video. It's okay. You can flip over and watch something else or whatever you need to do, but that video is for somebody, and they need to hear that information. So take what you can. You know, usually I try and make a lot of mine very, very broad, so that way you can pick out the pieces that apply to you and use them to your advantage. And the pieces, you know, that you've already got covered, great. It's just another thing as a gentle reminder. This, and this. All right, well, I've got 1 and 3 covered. Great. Put a check next to it. Good job. Focus on number 2. So, all right, guys, with that, make sure that hopefully I'll see most of you, if not all of you, tonight. And we'll leave it at that. So, guys, I hope you guys have a blessed night. If you're unable to join me, if you're able, I will see you tonight. We're going to hang out and have some fun. God bless each and every one of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. And above all else, remember to remain united, because we're all prepping in this together.